What's going on, my Jets family? What's going on, guys? So freaking awesome to see you guys. So excited for you to be here. Appreciate you guys tuning in with me, Harrison Glazer, on the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast. Excited to be here with you guys. Appreciate you. Appreciate you tuning in. So, we got a bunch of things to talk about. Let's start off. Let's start off with talking about how the Jets are 5-2. So I know people are gonna be coming in, as we get going. Appreciate you guys there already. Man, I'm excited. I'm extremely excited. I mean, there's things not to be excited about that we're a bit upset about, and we're gonna talk about that as well. But man, we're 5-2. Think about that for a second. Think about the fact that the Jets haven't been 5-2 since 2010. You guys remember what happened in 2010. 2010 was the last time we were in the playoffs. Mark Sanchez, you guys remember those years? I mean, those were pretty good in the beginning, right? I mean, Mark Sanchez, some receivers with him. Excuse me, good team. They went to the playoffs and friggin' awesome, man. So the Jets are 5-2 for the first time since 2010, and we're on a 4-game winning streak. This is our fourth. It is our fourth victory Monday in a row. That's freaking awesome, man. Like, how can you be any better than that? So all you guys out there, appreciate you coming in. We're talking about how awesome it is right now to be sitting at 5-2. And it feels freaking awesome, man. It feels great. We are a contender. I mean, we are a top team right now in the NFL. People can crap on us. People can make fun of the Jets all they want. But that's a fact, right? We are 5-2. That is a fact. We are one of the top teams in the NFL right now, man. 4 freaking game winning streak. 4 victory Mondays in a row. We had 4 wins last year. We're trending in the right direction. Things are moving, man. And I do want to talk about the win. I definitely want to talk about the game. And, you guys, as I mentioned, bring up your comments, you guys in the chat. Let me know what you're thinking. Excuse me. Let me know what you're thinking, about what I'm saying. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have any comments, anything you want me to bring up. But man, we're sitting, it's awesome, right? It feels great. We haven't been, again, 5-2 since the last time we made the playoffs. Man, this is freaking awesome. Right now, we're in the playoffs. Again, we're one of the better teams in the entire NFL. And to talk about the standings for a second, we look at that. We have the same amount of wins as the Bills. We're only 1 game behind them. Like, that's freaking awesome, man. Patriots bottom of division. Gotta love that. I mean, look at it statistically, right? The only teams in the AFC that have a better record than us right now are the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. That's it. Those are the only 2 teams that have a better record than the New York Jets, the team everyone wants to kick around, right? Our team. Man, this is freaking awesome. So Kevin points out, aren't we the 2nd seed in the AFC? Right now, we are tied with the Chiefs. Technically, we have more points for. Well, actually, no, sorry. They have more points for, but you have to remember it's in the same division. That's the thing. It's the same division. So, and Robert Sala's talked about this as well. You got to win your division, right? Buffalo is a dominant team in our division, and it sucks. I mean, right now we beat Miami, right? We got to beat New England. We'll talk about that. We'll circle back to that one. What you guys, again, tell me what you guys are thinking. But we really are, even statistically, though, we're the same as the Chiefs. We are below the Bills in our division. So right now, we're wild card. I mean, we have to take the division from them. We're going to get 2 opportunities, right? Robert Saleh said how closing the gap in the division is so freaking crucial. We did that with Miami. We have an opportunity to do that now with New England and with Buffalo as well. In fact, if you look at the Jets if you look at the Jets schedule right now, we have a very, very strong opportunity to close the gap, right? I mean, we have New England coming to us, then Buffalo coming to us, and then we go to New England. That's 3 division games back to back. And I want to come back and talk about that because there's something I want to mention with that with Zach Wilson that we're going to come back to as well. That we have 3 games against New England, Buffalo, New England. But these are 3. These are 3. Yo, Jets mess. Appreciate all you guys out there. Jets mess with the yo. Yo, my man, what's up? Appreciate you, man. Great to see you. Great to see all you guys. Appreciate you guys out there. Appreciate you tuning in. But man, we're talking about how exciting it is to be 5-2, right? To freaking be, we have more wins already than we did last year. We're trending in the right direction. We're a winning team. Again, in our conference, in the AFC, the only two teams better than us are the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. And if we go to the NFC, let's just dip there for a second. There's only 3 teams with a better record than us there. So we're a top 10 team in the NFL. That's just a fact. People may want to hate on us all they want, but that's just a fact, man. Again, just you guys remember I was trying to wrap my head around how amazing it would be to have 3 victory Mondays in a row, right? To have 3 victory Mondays in a row and beat Green Bay. Dude, 4 victory, and I got my wedding ring. You guys can see I got my new wedding ring. So excited to be married. Love my new wife. She's just sitting here next to me, hanging out with me. But 4 victory Mondays in a row. This is awesome, man. What more can we want? And we're going to pivot because there's big news to talk about. As you guys, I guarantee have heard, but if you hadn't, I hate to be the one to break it, but we lost 2 huge factor players in that game. Kev, appreciate you, bro. Appreciate the congrats. Thank you, man. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. The wedding was awesome. It was an absolutely amazing time. It went so well. Everything was perfect. I'm so in love with my new wife. Man, it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. But back to the Jets, always happy to talk about that. But back to the New York Jets. Excuse me. We won a huge game. We won a huge game against the top defense. And I do want to come back and talk about the game, but I want to talk news with you guys first. The big news is that we lost Breece Hall and we lost Alahia Vera-Tucker, AVT. 2 of literally the staples of our offense, 2 of the most important pieces on our team. AVT is arguably, not just on offense, arguably the best player on our entire team, easily our best offensive lineman. We joked about that he can play everywhere. We wanted to clone his ass, right? We wanted 5 of him on the offensive line. Now the rest of the year, we don't have any of them. And it's really upsetting. I was upset, man. Oh, that's so funny, bro. I love it. Jets Mez, did you do the Jet stamp when they asked you to say I do? That would have been funny. It was an absolutely amazing moment. It was incredible. Our ceremony was so amazing. But no, that didn't happen. That would have been absolutely funny, man. But no, it didn't happen. Appreciate the congrats. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you guys all you guys tuning in. But back to talking about AVT. We wanted all of him on the offensive line. Now he's not with us for the rest of the year. Same with Breece Hall. He's been the staple of our offense. Our offense this year has been successful because of the running game. The running game has been successful, yes, because of Michael Carter, but primarily because of Breece Hall. It was like an unbelievable sucker punch to the face and then like a gut punch to the fucking chest at once. It was brutal. And as you guys know, I had the wedding over the weekend, so I missed AVT's injury. I came in and, Jet Mets points out, he said, in my heart, I think AVT got hurt because they kept moving him all over. I don't know if that's true. I don't think that's true. I mean, AVT is an outstanding athlete. I don't think it's because they move him all over. It's just, it happens, right? Guys get hurt, things happen. Could have been anywhere, right? We see freak accidents happen because somebody bends the wrong way. Salah said it. The NFL is a violent sport, right? Things happen. I don't think he wasn't complaining about moving around. He's massively confident. He believes he can play anything. I don't think, maybe some do. I don't think there was as huge a factor. I just think what happened, and it sucks. It is what it is. But coming back to it, the 2 of them, let's, on a confident level for a second, they're going to come back strong and probably most likely better next year. AVT, very young dude, tremendous athlete. Breece Hall is a rookie and also a tremendous athlete. They are going to rehab and they're going to come back better and they're going to come back stronger. So I can't wait for them in 2023. But as you guys saw, I put out on Twitter. So Robert Saleh always talks about adversity, right? Robert Saleh always talks about adversity, that we have to overcome adversity. Well, this sucker punching gut punch was one of the biggest adversities we could have had in a moment where we're succeeding, right? In a moment where we have 5 wins now on the season. We beat a quality Green Bay team in Lambeau, something nobody had done in 15 games. We did it, and something we hadn't done since, I think it was 2006, long ass time ago. Then we beat the best defense in the NFL. We're going to talk about it in not a pretty game. It wasn't a pretty game, but we won, and a win is a win, and we're going to come back to that. But AVT, man, and Breece, they're going to come back stronger. But man, Breece was the focal point of this offense. Breece was literally the thing our offense ran through. He was our guy. I said, like we were just saying, that Robert Saleh talks about adversity all the time. This was huge adversity. We have to keep winning, right? That's the biggest thing. These are huge blows, right? Obviously, we're going to talk about what the Jets have done since, but at the time, these were huge blows. Finding out not just one, but both of these guys are out for the year. We're 5-2. We're sitting pretty in the division, in not just the division, the conference, in the entire NFL, we're sitting pretty. We have to find a way to keep winning. We have to find a way to keep winning and keep playing well and being productive. That's what really matters. And what does Joe Douglas do, man? James Robinson is a running back, if you guys remember, was a guy that I freaking loved back in, I think it was 2020. Yeah, 2020 was his rookie year. When I found out we traded for James Robinson, I went freaking crazy last night, guys. I was so freaking excited. And you guys know how much, I love watching players and watching talent. I loved James Robinson. I absolutely love this kid. And I can't believe he's a Jet. Joe Douglas, you guys know. We talk about it here all the time. I've been saying for a long time that Joe Douglas is a great GM. Right? I've been saying it for a long time that Joe Douglas is a great GM. Nobody does like him, trades like him. He's just continuing to prove it. Because like we just said, we're a team that's 5-2. We're a team that's in the top of the AFC, a top contending team this year. You can't just start licking your wounds and, oh no, we suck now. No, you have to find a way to keep winning. You talk about adversity. This is overcoming adversity. And guys, James Robinson, I loved him in his rookie year, and I loved him. And I don't know if you guys remember, I don't play fantasy as much anymore because, as you guys know, my job so cumbersome. I don't have the time as much, and I can't really dive into as much as I'd like to for fantasy. Excuse me. But back in 2020, I was still playing fantasy like a fiend. In fact, I was in a top division, a dynasty league I was in with friends. And excuse me. Oh, love you guys out there. Appreciate all you guys. Italy. Appreciate you, my brother. As you guys know, I normally do a show with him on Sundays. I was with the wifey. Me and the wifey were having some quality time. Not, just being together, enjoying our company. But appreciate it, man. Appreciate the welcome back. Appreciate the congratulations. Really appreciate you guys. But, man, James Robinson, I went crazy. I went freaking crazy. I'm not kidding when I found out we got him, because that, as you guys remember, if you guys have been watching me from the beginning, I kept saying in 2020, the reason I love Joe Douglas is he was doing the things that I would do. These were the players I would draft. This is what I would do. James Robinson is 1,000% something I would do. I can't believe we got him I'll give him the 5th. I mean, shit, I don't care. Conditional 6th. I'll give him the 5th right now. James Robinson is so worth it. In his rookie year, he was an undrafted free agent. So I mentioned I was playing fantasy that year. I don't remember exactly why, but one of my running backs in my dynasty league had gotten hurt and he wasn't going to play. I was looking for a quality starter. And if you guys remember, that was the year James Robinson hadn't been playing, but there was a lot of talk about him. And I was hearing it in the fantasy chatter that this kid could be really good. This is a guy to stash. This kid could emerge as a star. Well, I picked him up. And guys, I don't mean he just played well. He carried my fantasy team. His ass carried my fantasy team in 2020. He was averaging like 20 points a game. He was unfreaking believable. In his rookie year, James Robinson had over 1,000 yards and averaged 4.5 yards a carry. As an undrafted rookie, he was actually the 4th ever undrafted rookie in NFL history to ever rush for 1,000 yards in their rookie season. That's right. Fourth ever UDFA to ever do that over his first 2 seasons, because he's in his third year right now. He's in his third year. So over his first 2 seasons, you ready? He had 1,837 rushing yards and 15 touchdowns. 15. This kid has been freaking awesome. I loved him. I liked him on the Jaguars. I thought it was kind of crazy last year when they took Travis Etienne. I thought Robinson was the guy. And then, excuse me, and then and then they draft Travis Etienne, and he kind of starts taking more of a back seat, and ATN has become really good, and now they're willing to trade him. But guys, this is a running back. If you think, and I, again, watched this kid a lot as a rookie because I picked him up and I was a big fan. James Robinson, when you think of this kid, so Jets Mess points this out. Jets Mess says if he's so good, why did they trade him for chump change? That's a great question. That's actually a great question I don't have an answer to. And here's the numbers to prove it. Even this year, he had a back seat to Travis Etienne. He's only rushed 81 times, but he's averaging over 4 yards a rush. That's not bad, right? He's averaging over 5 yards of reception as well, and he's only had 9 balls thrown his way. Even this year, when he's not a part of the offense, he's still playing well. And again, last year, as a rookie, over 1,000 yards. And last year, even though he only had 767 yards, again, he was splitting with ETN. He had 767 yards, but he averaged 4.7 yards a carry. 4.7. So Jets Mess. I actually don't have an answer for you. I honestly would have, you would have told me that we were trading for James Robinson, I would have figured 3rd round pick. I'll be honest. Maybe 4th. I would have figured 3rd, maybe 4th. So Jenny points out he was injured recently. That could be the answer, but I don't look at it because it's not a severe injury. You know what I mean? So like Jenny points out, I heard he's been injured recently and not fully back to form. Seems like they aren't worried. They just aren't worried about a running back too. If you look at his injury, I have to look it up right now to bring it exactly up. But I just remember when I looked at his injury, he's going to be 100%. He's going to be 100%. So let me... Yeah, it was a torn Achilles tendon, but as you guys know, now I remember. It was a torn Achilles tendon, but as you guys know, those have, like with, guys like Carl Austin, for example, usually a year turnaround. So we're getting to that point. I think he's going to be good. I do. Again, I think Joe Douglas is investing in somebody. So I appreciate you guys bringing that up because that's what I was going to get to next. I think the injury is probably the factor because I would have expected a higher draft pick for the quality of playing you're getting. And if you look at his injury, it's a timetable. Don't get me wrong. There's a timetable to it, but it's something players come back from. It's 100% something that players, including running backs, come back from as long as they rehab well and they come back stronger than they were. You guys know I've talked about that all the time, right? Players in the NFL at that level have to come back stronger than they were. So the injury probably plays a big factor, but I'm telling you guys, we've seen it in the past. This is going to turn into, I'm telling you right now, this is going to turn into, give it 2 months, maybe less. This is going to turn into Joe Douglas robbed another team. This is exactly what this is going to turn into. This is going to turn into Joe Douglas robbed another team. I'm just looking at what Jenny added. So Jenny adds also read that he has sore knees per the Jags coach. Again, I look at it as I don't know about sore knees. I mean, his injury was I believe it was a torn Achilles. Yeah, I'm looking at it. Was a torn Achilles. He didn't tear. Yeah, so yeah, it's a torn Achilles. I mean, usually we see maybe a year for that. It was in December. So again, I think he's going to be ready to go sooner than later. I do. I mean, maybe he'll be ready to go. I mean, well, hold on. He's been playing this year, hasn't he? Wait a minute. Now you got me. Now you got me. Wait. Yeah, he's been playing this year. He's playing. So I really haven't, I'll be honest, I haven't been watching the Jags. He's been playing, though. He has yards. I mean, again, not great yardage, but he's averaging 4.2 yards a carry. I mean, you can't hate that. So, yeah. So you look at it. I mean, yeah, it's like Jenny says, it's weird, kind of odd to share that. But forgetting the injury stuff, I'm telling you guys, James Robinson's the real deal. Like, this was a kid. I couldn't believe we traded him. Again, I couldn't believe that we traded for James Robinson. Joe Douglas is the freaking man, you guys. Joe Douglas, again, like we were saying before, and this is kind of the whole tie-in with that. Our offense has been succeeding through the run game, right? Yeah. So, like Jenny points out, Jenny says he hasn't been in the injury report. He's just been a backseat. I think the coach was fumbling for an answer to that. Again, exactly nailed it. He, where is it? He's fine. Like, he's been playing this year. That's what I was thinking about. I remember he was injured, but he's been playing. He's been playing this year. Again, he has only 340 yards, but he's averaging 4.2 yards a carry. So, and he's got 3 touchdowns on the season, considering they're not really featuring him that much. He's only had 7 and 8 in other years. He's got 3 this year, and he's only rushed the ball 81 times. These are good numbers. Again, James Robinson is a guy I'm a really big fan of. Again, love this kid as a rookie. For those of you guys coming in now, if you didn't catch it before, in his rookie season, James Robinson was the 4th player ever in NFL history as an undrafted rookie to break 1,000 rushing yards. Fell in love with him that year, feel he's the real deal. And now, let me talk to you about James Robinson, because I, again, have watched this kid a good amount. Haven't seen the Jaguars as much this year, but watched him a good amount, especially in 2020. And man, Joe Douglas trading for him shows that Joe Douglas has a type. So when you think of James Robinson, put it on Twitter if you guys didn't see it. When you think of James Robinson, think one cut or right through you. That's James Robinson. He's a linear rusher. He goes right down the middle, right through people. He's a freaking bowling ball, but he makes a cut or two. He's a one-cut kind of running back. He hits lanes with purpose. He hits them hard. He hits them with purpose. And when he gets in the open field, he's got an extra gear. My question to you, does that remind you of anybody? Again, I'm not saying he's Breece Hall. Please, I'm not saying Breece is I can't wait for Breece to come back next year. I'm going to miss him so much. We're all going to miss him so much. What he's done in the first 6, 7 games of his rookie year is crazy. Breece Hall was going to be offensive rookie of the year, hands down. People were ready to just hand it to him, ready to just give it to him. So, excuse me. So I'm not saying he's Breece Hall, and he's not as fast as Breece Hall, but it's the same kind of running style. A one-cut running back that also is a bull and hits the holes with purpose, hits them hard, hits them fast, and has an extra gear. Granted, again, Breece Hall's extra gear is insane. Breece Hall's extra gear is like, wait, he's how big and he runs how fast? But James Robinson has an extra gear. I've seen it. So James Robinson fits this offense perfectly. And Michael Carter is a bit of an exception. Michael Carter is a bit of an exception, but Bam Knight, even though he's not as big, he actually is the same kind of running back. He's like a smaller one-cut bull power kind of back. So again, Michael Carter is an exception. Michael Carter is that shifty guy. But everyone else kind of shows that Joe Douglas has a type. He clearly has a type for running back, and I like it. Someone made the comparison on my Twitter the other day when I mentioned what I like about James Robinson and these traits that I'm mentioning about him. Somebody mentioned Sean Green, and whoever mentioned it, kudos to them, because I thought about it, and that's a really good comparison. Again, he's not as good as Breece, but Sean Green is a good comparison. Think like Sean Green, a one-cut running back that hits holes with purpose, hits them hard, barrels through people. But when he gets in the open field, you guys remember with Sean Green, we were like, damn, he can move. Like, damn, he's got an extra gear. The guy's got to catch him. I've seen James Robinson outrun cornerbacks. This dude has an extra gear. And he's excuse me, he's a very strong running back. Appreciate all you guys. Got Matthias out there saying, hey, brother, sup, brother. Appreciate all you guys. So, Matt, we're going through all the news of it. It sucks that we lost Breece, man. It's awful. We're devastated. It sucks we lost AVT. So we talked about the running back position, right? We talked about how big that is, how amazing that is for Joe Douglas to trade for James Robinson. Again, it's what I would have done. I got so pumped. I was like, this is amazing. I am so excited that James Robinson is a New York Jet. Him, Michael Carter. I was thinking, maybe Michael Carter and Bam Knight together on their own could make a decent duo. Man, the three of them, maybe together they can do what Breece Hall was doing, and that's the point. So like we said before, this was adversity, right? Robert Saleh always talks about adversity. We have to overcome adversity. And losing two of your best players, the staples on your offense, really, you don't face much bigger adversity than that. What do? Well, guys, just tip of the hat to Joe Douglas. Just tip of the hat. The trade for James Robinson, amazing. Like not even a 10 out of 10. It's like a 20 out of 10. Unbelievable trade. Unbelievable trade. So as I mentioned, I thought our offense was going to have to lean more on the passing game, right? And we're going to talk about Zach Wilson because I want to get to him a little bit. I think you guys are going to be interested in my take on Zach Wilson. Mo says JD could sign the janitor at practice facility to play for the Jets. I don't agree, man. I don't agree, man. Not at all. Not at all. Joe Douglas, I've been saying it for a while. He's freaking awesome. Joe Douglas is freaking awesome. James Robinson, if you missed it before, for all the reasons I was saying, he's a really good pickup. Really good pickup. So Matthias pointing out, I don't have to put up with any Zach Wilson haters, do I? You guys know I'm a big fan of Zach Wilson, and we're going to talk about Zach, okay? Zach did not have a good game. That's a fact. Zach Wilson did not have a good game, but he also didn't have a terrible game. He didn't have as bad a game as everybody makes it out. So, Matthias, we are 5-2, Joe D, King of New York. Guys, again, so coming back to like what Matthias is saying with 5-2, it's about winning, right? That's what this whole game is about. It's about winning. A bunch of these wins, like the Browns win, we fell ass backwards into. But you know what? A win is a win. Is a win. That's it. You won. It's a W in the column. That's all that matters. If you fall ass backward into enough wins, you can make the playoffs. And if you make the playoffs, nobody gives a shit how many wins you have anymore. Yes, it's nice to have home field advantage. Don't get me wrong. It'll be freaking amazing to have home field advantage. But if we walk our way into the wild card for the first time in 12 years, right? It don't matter how we get those W's. It just matters that they keep coming. It just matters like, you got to win, right? You just win, like Matthias says. Just win. And that's why I was saying before, excuse me, the adversity is huge, right? Losing two guys like that, you can't just turn around and start licking your wounds and go, oh, woe is me. We're 5-2. We're one of the best teams in the AFC. We're one of the best teams in football. You need to keep winning. You need to show that you're committed to winning. And trading for James Robinson 100% does that. Again, I'm telling you guys, I've watched this kid. He's an excellent running back. He's underappreciated. I was surprised again when they drafted Travis Etienne. I thought Robinson was their guy after 2020. I was like, you don't see teams with a bell cow workhorse running back anymore. But that's what James Robinson was that year. I mean, look at the numbers. In 2020, he rushed 240 times. He was the bell cow of that offense. And he averaged every year. Every season, he's averaged over 4 yards a carry for the whole year. Again, in 2 years alone, he has over 1,800 yards and 15 touchdowns as an undrafted guy. Matthias points out 2,400 yards. Again, if you count it all together, if you count the receiving yards, he has receiving yards as well, but over 1,800 rushing yards and 15 rushing touchdowns, 18 total touchdowns. Again, this is an outstanding trade for only a sixth, maybe fifth. Like I was joking with you guys before, shit, I'll just give him the fifth now. I'll just give him the fifth now. I'm good. James Robinson is an outstanding trade. You guys remember we were joking before. I was saying if you would have told me before that the Jets were going to trade for James Robinson, I would have been like, well, I would have thought maybe even a third, probably a fourth. most likely a fourth, but maybe even a third. Because again, if you look at what he's done, he's a quality running back at the next level. And like Jenny points out, I point this out on Twitter too. He's only 24, man. This kid is 24 years old. He's in his third year now. Again, as a rookie, an undrafted rookie. He had over 1,000 rushing yards. He was the bread and butter of the rushing game for the Jaguars that year. They leaned on him, and he's averaged over 4 yards a season, and he's only 24 years old. Him with Michael Carter and Bam Knight. Because again, Bam Knight is smaller, but he fits that mold. He's a one-cut back that is a linear back that hits the hole with purpose and has an extra, again, fits the category. Joe Douglas clearly has a type. Michael Carter, as we all, joked about last year, the fact that he was even there in the fourth round is insane. I think Joe Douglas just couldn't pass on him, especially because we needed a running back. But everyone else other than Michael Carter fits a mold. Joe Douglas clearly has a type at running back, and I like that type. I really do. It's like the Sean Greens of the day, right? So let's come back to Zach Wilson for a sec. Let's talk about Zach Wilson. So Zach Wilson did not have a great game. That's a fact. In fact, you could say he didn't have that good a game, right? He didn't have that good a game, period. He didn't. But Zach Wilson didn't turn the ball over. Zach Wilson played smart football, and a lot of people forget how good the Broncos defense is. So what I'm going to do before even saying any more, I think Robert Saleh did it the most justice. I think Robert Saleh said it the best. So let's, as you guys know, I bring you, the press conferences throughout the season, after the games and stuff. When they asked Robert Saleh about Zach Wilson, he started off by saying, first off, this defense is ridiculous. He said that he's going to want some things back, obviously, from this game, but he thinks I think he did a great job, he said. He didn't turn it over, and he kept the ball where he needed to. This is the key part. Was it the cleanest game? No. But was it something to sound an alarm on? Absolutely not. And that's the way you need to look at this. Again, you guys know I love Zach Wilson. And yeah, would I like Zach Wilson to be having 300 plus 400 yards right now? Would I like him to be throwing 3-4 touchdowns a game? Yeah. Why the hell wouldn't I? I would love to see that, but that's not what we're seeing right now. Zach Wilson isn't playing bad. Sorry, Zach Wilson isn't playing good or great, but he's also not playing bad. They're leaning primarily on the running game. So look at what Zach Wilson is doing, right? Zach Wilson in these last games, like Robert Saleh said, he didn't turn the ball over. He had the ball where it needed to be, and we won the game. Like Matthias says right here. Look at the other QBs that play Denver. Denver has a top defense in the NFL. The Green Bay Packers have a top defense in the NFL. Their secondary is really, really good. So it's understandable. Again, I would love for Zach Wilson to have huge games. Don't get me wrong. We all would love that. I would love that. But like Robert Saleh said, it wasn't a good game. Wasn't even a great or, even good to stat-wise, but it wasn't something to sound an alarm on. It wasn't something to be like, oh my God, something's wrong. There's a problem with our quarterback. If they were leaning on Zach heavily and he was turning the ball over a lot, he was making really bad reads and really bad decisions and not learning from them. Like if he makes a bad read and a bad decision, okay. But then he comes out and he's got Sam Darnold syndrome and he's doing it 4 or 5 times over, then those are things to sound an alarm on. That's when you get the horn out and you start alerting everybody, we don't have a quarterback. And you blow the horn. There's no reason to blow the horn yet. So again, is Zach playing even good right now? I wouldn't say he is. And you guys know I'm a huge Zach Wilson fan. I really do believe this kid is going to be great. But as we know, everybody's a different person. Right? Everybody progresses at a different rate. We've talked about it here. We would all love for him to be the Patrick Mahomes, but we know Patrick Mahomes, like we talked about, is the exception. That's not the standard. Mac Jones is having a pretty bad year this year. The Patriots are struggling, right? Not saying that you guys know I don't think Mac Jones is going to be that great a quarterback to begin with. That was my whole take on Mac Jones. Excuse me. I do believe Zach Wilson can be great. I really do truly believe that. I see all the intangibles that I needed to see throughout his collegiate career, throughout his rookie season, to tell me this kid can make the next step. But is he going to make the next step tomorrow or the next day? Are there going to be struggles along the way? Probably. I mean, I can't guarantee it. I'm not him, right? I'm not him. I'm not playing these defenses. So, like Robert Saleh pointed out, this was a quality defense. We played a really good defense. Excuse me. We played a really good defense in uh, in Denver. And now I want to point this out as well because Robert Saleh pointed this out when they doubled down and asked more about Zach Wilson right here. He said, when Zach gets out of the pocket, you want to see all that off schedule stuff that you know he's capable of, but he's been consistently under duress, which, guys, the offensive line was horrendous last week. So we're going to come back because based on what Robert Saleh is saying, but he was constantly under duress and the coverage was very sticky. He said credit goes to them, and he added, so this is the part I come to you guys with, my Jets family, you guys out there to help me out on this, on Twitter and all the social media platforms. Robert Saleh ends it by saying that credit goes to them, and we're about to play 3 more great defenses in New England and Buffalo, so it's not going to get any easier. He points out that with a game against a game against New England, and then Buffalo, and then New England again, those are 3 more quality defenses, especially secondaries. So we have to remember these things. Yes, again, can't stress enough. Would I not love for Zach Wilson to come out and have a 400-yard game and just light it the hell up and read the field like an unbelievable, Patrick Mahomes level? Yeah, we would all love that. But it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen eventually. Again, everybody grows and learns at their own rate, and he's playing amazing defenses. So again, would I like to see better numbers in his second year? Yeah. But am I seeing things that make me afraid, make me say, oh my God, he can't be the guy? I do not. And that's my challenge with you guys. We've seen the Jets play really, really good defenses these last few weeks. And we need to remind everybody on social media that is going to freak the hell out if something goes wrong. We have to remind them that the next 3 weeks, the Jets are playing quality secondaries. Again, the next 3 weeks, just like last week, just like the week before, Robert Saleh points out the Jets are playing quality secondaries. But guess what? 2 weeks ago, we played a quality secondary. And guess what? We got the W, baby. And this week, we played one of the best secondaries in the NFL. And guess what? We also got the W. So like we said, a win is a win, right? Excuse me. A win is a win, right? If you fall backward into half your wins, it doesn't matter. You just win. Winning is winning. You win enough, you make the playoffs. You get to the playoffs, you get to the playoffs, nobody cares how many wins you have anymore. Again, like we said before, yes, it's great to have home field advantage, but you're in the playoffs. That's what matters. So like Mike points out, shout out to all you guys. Mike says, at least he's not making critical mistakes to lose us the game. That's the point. Again, like Robert Saleh said, did he have a great game? Did he even have a good game? No, he had an okay game, but it wasn't bad. He didn't do anything, like Mike's saying, to lose us the game. He didn't make any really bad decisions. He didn't force anything. In fact, he did enough to help us win the game. He's developing. He's learning. He's getting better. There's going to be struggles along the way. There's going to be pitfalls along the way. Again, like I said, I can't stress enough. I'd love for him to come out and be freaking amazing. Just unbelievable, but we need to be patient. We need to be patient. We need to remember that we're playing quality defenses. Quality defenses for the last 2 weeks, especially in the secondary, and for the next 3 weeks. We will play quality secondaries again. So I love all your guys' comments. Love all the chat you guys are bringing up. Excuse me. But one last thing I want. So that's my take on Zach Wilson. I wanted to get that out there. I want you guys to know that, again, I'm not coming out and saying blindly that he's been great, because he hasn't been. He, again, hasn't even been that good. but he hasn't been bad. He's not making critical mistakes. He's playing smart football. He's not turning the ball over against quality secondaries. Let's see what happens, right? Let's see this continue to unfold. So, love this attitude as well. Something else Robert Saleh said also. He said, to be sitting here with 5 wins is awesome, but we've got to keep our heads down and keep ourselves focused. New England's coming to town one game at a time. That's what you want, right? You guys remember we talked about that all season, right? We talked, where is it? We talked all season, right? That every win we've had, Zach Wilson, even himself, has said it's about the next game, right? Zach Wilson said it's great that we won, but it's about the next game. We got to win the next one too. We got to keep stacking them up. That's what he kept saying. And guys, we're stacking. We have 4 victory Mondays in a row. 4 victory Mondays in a row. That's stacking. Excuse me. So that's freaking awesome. Again, that was the biggest thing with getting James Robinson, right? Our team has been leaning heavily on the running game. Our offense has been featuring the running game. So we have to remember, looking at Zach Wilson, not only is he playing quality top secondaries, he's not throwing the ball a crazy amount, right? I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I know for a fact he's not throwing the ball that much a game. They're not putting the game on his shoulders. Because like we said before, it's about winning. And if your running game can win you the game, only an idiot would not, right? Your running game is winning the game for you. So I figured, okay, we lost Breece Hall. We're not going to be able to lean on this running game as much as we used to. Guys, again, I really, really like James Robinson. You heard me before, all the things I like about this kid. And I do believe, again, please, I'm not saying he's Breece Hall. I am not saying he's Breece Hall. I'm not even saying he sniffs at the level of Breece Hall. But having him with Michael Carter and Bam Knight allows us to continue to lean on the running game. That allows us to continue to do what's making us successful. And you have to give Joe Douglas kudos for that. We have a formula that's been working. Joe Douglas found a way that we don't have to drastically alter that formula. We can continue it with the players that we now have, with the trio of James Robinson, Michael Carter, Bam Knight, and hell, maybe Ty Johnson wants a piece. Who knows? I don't think Ty Johnson is that great, but hey, maybe he wants a piece. If he wants to kill it, like we were saying before, all that matters is the W, right? If Ty Johnson wants to rush for 200 yards a game, you have my blessings, Ty Johnson. Do it. Please do it. Let's keep winning. Let's continue to stack those wins because, again, doesn't matter if it was an ugly win like we played against Denver. Yes, they have a quality defense, and yes, the offensive line was bad but again, their defensive line is freaking pretty incredible. However, we won. We won the game. We found a way to win. In the end, it doesn't matter how ugly the win was. The W is the W. We're 5-2. It's awesome, guys. It's awesome. So again, bringing in James Robinson, we don't have to change anything now. We can continue to lean on the running game and allow it to open the passing game. And maybe as these games go on, Zach will get more comfortable. He'll start making bigger plays, but you don't want him to force anything. Right? He's playing quality secondaries. You saw that off-schedule throw, remember? Against, what was it? It was Green Bay, right? Pretty sure it was Green Bay. Against, I think it was Green Bay or the Steeler game. Remember where he made that, maybe in the Steeler game, he made that off-schedule throw and it almost got picked. He tried to take a chance. That's what quarterbacks do. He's a young kid. He's learning. Again, I'd love for him, again, to be unbelievable immediately. I do think he will become great. And you guys know I've said that consistently. I believe that Zach Wilson can become great, but his journey is different than anybody else's. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's Zach Wilson. And his journey will be his journey. And he will get there when he gets there. I know, again, we want it all to be immediately, but if we keep winning, that's what matters. And now we can continue to lean on this running game. So let's come back. Before we were talking about the injuries. We were talking about the offensive line. Man, the offensive line was atrocious last week. The offensive line was absolutely horrendous. And that is a major factor in Zach Wilson's not good performance. Again, not bad, but not good. And a major factor to that is the offensive line. He was running for his freaking life. Zach Wilson, it looked like he did in the beginning of his rookie season with GVR the turnstile. He was running for his freaking life. They were all over him. He had no time for anybody to even get open, let alone see the field properly to get a good read. They were in his face the whole game. Granted, again, Denver, can't stress it enough, has one of the best defenses in football. They have an incredible defensive line. They have an incredible defensive line. Our offensive line couldn't handle it. But I have a question for you guys. And I don't know if you have an answer. I put it out on Twitter. Why is Cedric Ogbuehi playing right tackle? That's just something I'm wondering. And again, I'm not saying we have great depth there. Obviously, we don't right now. Now, we were hoping George Fant would be back, right? We were hoping George Fant would be back this week. Robert Saleh said that's most likely not happening. Robert Saleh said it's not definite, but most likely George Fant will not be back this week. He could be back the following week. We don't know. Max Mitchell could be back in maybe 2 to 3 weeks. That changes everything, right? You guys know my take. My take is I think Max Mitchell has been unbelievable. I think Max Mitchell has been excellent as a 4th-round rookie, thrown into the fire at right tackle, literally making quality blocks against top NFL defensive linemen. He set up the game-winning block in the Browns game. He blocked Myles Garrett, for Christ's sake. So, excuse me. I'm ready to even say, even if Fant and Max Mitchell are ready at the same time, I think I'd rather Max Mitchell start. I think I'd rather Max start because he was playing as good as Fant was as a young kid, a rookie, only going to get better, right? Let him and Nate Herbig build some chemistry right there, right? Let them build some chemistry on that right side of the line together. But having George Fant back makes things better. But as of right now, next week, we're not getting either back. So my question for you guys, maybe you have an answer. I'm trying to figure out why Mike Remmers isn't the right tackle. That's what I'm trying to figure out here. I don't know if you have an answer for me. But Mike Remmers is a former Pro Bowler. Mike Remmers used to play at a really high quality level. He's not a young guy anymore, but he is still pretty good, I would imagine. He's on the team. He clearly passed, remember they put him on the practice squad. I figured as an older guy, they put him on the practice squad when we talked about it because I figured maybe he had to pass physicals as an older guy. Well, he did. He's on the current team right now. I don't get why it's Cedric Ogbuehi. He was not good. He was not good in that game. And you guys know, again, I don't want to jinx it because they're keeping him as the starter now. But you guys remember that unbelievable, scary stat I pointed out about Cedric Ogbuehi. And if you don't, Cedric Ogbuehi is a former first-round pick that has been in the NFL for 8 years. In the 8 years he's been in the NFL, he's only played over 300 snaps twice. And this is the part that's really going to blow your brain to the back of the wall. I don't even want to tell you. In those 2 years alone, he allowed 17 sacks. Think about that for a second. In 2 seasons alone, he allowed 17 sacks. I mean, Jesus, GVR isn't even that bad. So I don't know why he's starting over Mike Remmers. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. Why is Mike Remmers not the starting right tackle? That makes a lot more sense to me, especially because, again, Patriots have a pretty good defensive line, and we saw what Denver did to us last week. Wilson was literally running for his life. Dwayne Brown couldn't hold up. The whole offensive line was struggling to hold up. It didn't look good. AVT, man, one of the best players on our team. One of the absolute best players on our team, period. Losing him is an absolute travesty. So it sucks, man. It sucks. But on this defensive line, they announced that Cedric Ogbuehi is going to be the starter. I don't get why it's not Mike Remmers. And if it is Ogbuehi, I'm hoping it's not going to be him for long. I'm hoping either maybe for some reason he somehow figured it out in his 8th season. I mean, I guess anything's possible. But most likely, we just got to hope, Max Mitchell or George Fant will be back soon. That's the biggest thing. We just got to hope that one of them will be back soon and able to take over and be the right tackle because Ogbuehi is not the answer. He's not even close. In fact, I would even go as far, I haven't rewatched the game, but just in watching the live footage I did, I think the only reason he was as good as he was is because Herbig played well next to him. Herbig made him better. If GBR was next to him, shit, You would have been better off just not even having two guys there and lining up extra receivers. Like just putting extra guys. Like you're just like leaving that side empty. So I don't get it. I don't get why Cedric is the starter. I would have thought it would have been Mike Remmers. I was surprised in the game. I would have thought Remmers would have been the guy. Again, it's not that he's not healthy. It's not that he's not ready. And Mike Remmers was a former quality top tackle in the league. Him on his worst day, I still feel like is better than Cedric Ogbuehi on his best. That's just my take. So I'm a little confused with that. But again, the real answer is George Fant and Max Mitchell. When they're healthy and they're ready to come back, put them on the right side. And guys, if they're both ready together, I'm ready for Max, man. I want to see more Max. Max looked great. He was blocking, again, quality NFL defensive lineman, Myles Garrett, Justin Houston. It was unbelievable. A fourth-round rookie that wasn't supposed to be starting. I want to see more Max. I want to see more Max. I want him out there. I want to see him continuing to develop. Let him learn on the fly. And man, when AVT comes back next year stronger than ever, with Nate Herbig and Max Mitchell on that line, those are three pieces to build around. You guys remember, we talked about it. You got Connor McGovern at center. He hasn't been bad. In fact, he's been pretty good. He's been consistently and you guys know I'm not a big fan of him. I credit where credit is due. He's consistently been not great, but a good center. He's been a good, reliable center for the last 2 years. So you draft your blindside tackle next year. You need that left tackle guy. You draft a top blindside tackle. That was always my take, if you guys remember. The offensive line gets fixed. But man, I'm scared for next week because there is no Fant. There is no Max Mitchell. And again, I'm still trying to understand why Ogbuehi starts over Remmers. I just don't get it. I just don't. So some other stuff I wanted to bring up to you guys as well. And as I always mention to you guys, let me know any questions you guys have. If you have any questions, anything you're thinking, you have any comments, please let me know, throw it up, any thoughts you guys have. Yeah, like Liam points out, shout out to Liam. Liam says Zach is playing game manager football right now, which he is. I mean, it doesn't mean he's staying that. We have to remember that, right? It doesn't mean that's what his destiny is, right? It just means he's playing that in the moment. And as long as we keep up the quality run game, it's all good. Like you said, we put Flacco out there. Half of our pass plays turn into sacks without Zach's mobility. And they turn into bad throws. Zach, like Robert Saleh said, is not making bad decisions. He's not making unbelievably like Patrick Mahomes level, I'm about to be sacked, throwing 40 yards downfield. But he's also not making bad reads. And he's also not turning the ball over. He's playing smart. And it's allowing our defense and running game to win the game. And like we said, a win is a win. You win, you get to the playoffs. You get to the playoffs, you get a shot at the Super Bowl. There is nobody at the end of the year when you're holding up the Lombardi trophy that somebody goes, you fell half backward into half your wins. No one gives a shit. All that matters is you're holding that Lombardi. That's all that freaking matters. So just keep winning. Right? And that was the take, right? That was my big take you guys saw on Twitter, that we can't let this destroy us. We can't let losing two quality, arguably, not even arguably, the fact, factually, the best offensive players on our team. Like we said, our offense ran through the running game, and our running game ran through Breece Hall. And AVT, not just our best lineman, one of the best players on our team. We can't let that destroy us. Like we said, adversity happens. This is bad adversity, but you have to overcome. And Joe Douglas, man, trading for James Robinson, that's huge. I'm telling you guys, I was talking about him before. I am a really, really big fan of James Robinson. And for all the reasons we said before, he fits this offense really, really well. I am very excited about him. Him, Michael Carter, and Bam Knight make a quality backfield now. Together, they can give the Jets the running identity they need to keep leaning on the running game. But as we're going to see, things change each week. Maybe a couple of games, the running game doesn't work, right? We can't run the ball. Then you have to lean more on the passing game. Don't think it's not going to eventually fall on Zach Wilson's shoulders. It will. Eventually, it will fall on him. He's going to have to step up and be the guy. I do believe he can be. I truly love what I've seen in Zach Wilson. I believe he has everything there. But again, he's playing quality defenses right now. We have to remember that. Like Matthias said, Matthias, shout out to him, pointed out all the quality, all the quarterbacks that played these defenses that we played and how quality ones weren't even putting up big numbers. Again, Zach isn't putting up big numbers, but he's not putting up bad numbers. So that is really, really crucial. So we talked about James Robinson. I mentioned, the wins and all of that. But here's something I wanted to bring up. I think you guys would really love and appreciate. So Sauce Gardner had a career game. Sauce Gardner had a career game with double-digit tackles, 10 total tackles, and 3 PBUs, 3 passes batted down. And he's up for Rookie of the Week again. Why wouldn't he be? Sauce is up for another Rookie of the Week. We've talked about it, Matt. I've said it before. I've had my take. I had a whole video you guys remember on this talking all about it, where I do believe that Sauce Gardner has the potential to be the greatest corner to ever play the game. Now, 10 tackles and 3 PBUs, they asked Sauce Gardner about it. He says, yeah, I was trying to get that Rookie of the Week belt again, but if I don't get it, it is what it is. We got the victory. Guys, that's the attitude. That's the attitude we've been looking for that Elijah Moore needs to find. That's the attitude, Mr. Moore. That's what we want to hear. Again, they asked Sauce Gardner, and he says, yeah, I was going for Rookie of the Week, but if I don't get it, it is what it is. We won. That's what it's supposed to be about. It's about winning. It's about the W. You guys remember Bart Scott's take. I put it out. Excuse me. Let me get some water. Just one sec, guys. You guys remember Bart Scott's take. I put it out on Twitter as well when SMY put it out. Bart Scott pointed out how it's a different mentality nowadays, right? A lot of these players would rather lose and put up big yards and be a quality contributing player than win and not contribute. And that's sad. I mean, I get wanting to be a quality player, but man, for us, it's about winning. We're the fans. We want to win. The team wants to win. It's all about winning. If you don't want to be part of a winning culture, you can get the hell out. So they're not trading Elijah Moore. We've talked about that. If you guys want to chime in your comments, the Jets have publicly said they're not trading Elijah Moore. Trading Elijah Moore is not an option. And yes, I do believe they don't want to trade him. I do believe they do not want to. However, also, I believe another factor is that it would be hard to trade Elijah Moore. So Elijah Moore was the 34th overall pick in last year's draft. You have to remember that. He was a very high pick. 34th overall is basically a first rounder. Elijah Moore is still all hype, right? I really like the kid, even though he's opened his mouth. I'm upset with him as a fan, but I love that what he can be as a player. That's maybe the way to put it. I love what he can be as a player. I love what he can be for our team, but I am not happy with the things he's saying. I am not happy with the fact that he requested a trade. So we know the whole story. The whole story is ridiculous, right? The whole freaking story that he erupted basically at practice, upset and angered coaches, and upset his fellow players. I mean, we're winning right now. Winning culture, changing locker room. Everyone's hyped. You don't want that. You don't want that at all. So the Jets told Elijah Moore to defuse, take the day off, and relax. And what did he do? He went home and hours later requested a trade. We saw the whole thing with A.J. Brown, and that's what Bart Scott pointed out as well. Bart Scott literally said it. And Elijah Moore, if you're listening somehow, everyone tagged him on the video. I would be shocked if he didn't see it. I hope Elijah Moore saw Bart Scott's take, because Bart Scott's take was absolutely spot on. He said, these guys that are hyping you like this, they don't understand and they don't care about your longevity. They're divas in their own right, right? That's basically what Bart Scott was saying. You don't want to label yourself wrongly in the NFL, especially as a young kid who's still unproven, and that's the point. We talk again about Elijah Moore being the 34th overall pick, right? Elijah Moore being the 34th overall pick. Well, Elijah Moore is still unproven. Right? Elijah Moore had a good season last year, But it was a good season. It was one good season. He's not proven enough to the point where a team's going to give away a first round pick for him. Heck, it'll be hard to probably even get a second round pick for him. And again, he was the 34th overall pick. And the fact that he requested a trade from a team that hasn't been winning in over a decade, is trending in the right direction, and everybody else is bought in, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. So I think even though the Jets are not saying it, the difficulty in trading him, I think, is a factor. I think that is definitely a factor as well. So you guys point out, Sean points out, says Elijah Moore needs redemption. He needs to prove that he can be a team player, and step up to the plate. Talking about that, for a minute. So Elijah Moore points out, needs redemption, prove that he can be a team player, step up to the plate. Like Sean's saying, man, talking about stepping up to the plate, how about Denzel Mims for a second, right? So there was that late hit on Denzel Mims. That was a late hit. It wasn't a huge hit. I know I saw a lot of people on Twitter. It was like almost unanimous. Everyone's like, all of a sudden they're like, Denzel Mims is soft. It was a late hit. It was a late hit to his ribs. It looked like they got him in the ribs, probably knocked the wind out of him. That's most likely what happened. Probably knocked the wind out of him, or at least he got a twinge in his ribs. That's enough to take anybody down for a second or two. Mims had a decent game. So I'm going to pivot to what Robert Saleh said about Denzel Mims. So on Denzel Mims, he pointed out that he's the one that sprung Breece Hall's big run free. He's the one that made the big block that allowed Breece Hall to make that huge run in the beginning of the game. He then added that I'll never question his ability in the run game. He's going to continue getting better, and he's going to be a big part of it moving forward. Now, interesting choice of words. I want to know what you guys think. You tell me. I listened to that about 15, 20 times. I wanted to make sure when Robert Saleh says he's going to be a big part of it moving forward, does he mean the offense? Or for some reason, is he saying it? Does he mean something else, like run blocking or something? Right? So I noticed a lot of the beat writers did the same thing. They pointed out, just like I did, that Robert Saleh said that Robert Saleh said he's going to be a big part of it moving forward. I think it means the offense. I do. I think he means the offense. I think Denzel Mims is going to be a part of this. I mean, Robert Saleh said, Mims has been waiting for his opportunity, and he gets it now, right? He got his opportunity, and he didn't have a great game, but he did have that huge block. He did have a really big block, and you gotta love what he said. So they interview, all the players after the game. They asked Denzel Mims about his block, and Mims said, "I was just trying to go hard and take his head off." Then the interviewer laughed and asked him about blocking, and Mims said, "I love blocking." He said, "I love it." He said, "It separates the boys from the men. That's how I see it. Not everyone wants to do it, but I'm willing to block and do all I can." That's the point. He gets it. That's the attitude we need, right? That's the attitude that the Jets are looking for, right? So like Mike points out, it's about fitting him into the game plan and going along with it, helping the team win. 100%, man. And that's kind of the point, right? We talked about this before with Mims, right? When he wanted to get traded, it was the same thing with Elijah Moore. I want you to be part of this team. Remember, I said the same thing with Mims. I want you to be a part of this team. But if you don't want to be a part of this team, you can get the hell out. I think we all feel that way, right? We're winning right now. We're 5-2. We're part of a trending in the right direction. We're part of a culture change. We're having huge wins against really good teams with really good defenses. We don't need this. So I would love for Elijah Moore to be part of our offense. I would love for Elijah Moore to be a part of this team. But if he doesn't want to be, the door's right there. The problem is he's a different situation. Denzel Mims is a former pick from 2020. It's not the same. Elijah Moore was the 34th overall pick just last year, and we know he's a quality player. So I think, again, even though the Jets don't want to get rid of him, I think that's a fact. The Jets do not want to trade Elijah Moore. They want him to be a part of this offense. They want him to want to be here, but I don't think they can get what they want for him. I don't think Joe Douglas would be able to get what he would consider fair compensation for a 34th overall pick just last year. I do believe that. I believe that is a major factor as well. I think if a team called up Joe right now and said, we believe Elijah Moore can 100% be the guy, our wide receiver one, and we'll give you a first round pick for him, I think Joe would say yes before the guy even finishes the sentence. Right when he says first round pick, Joe would say, I do. Just like me on Saturday. Joe would say, I do. So he's not getting an offer that he would find acceptable, but he also would like Elijah Moore to be a part of this offense. So talking about this offense a little bit, if you've looked at it, we talked about it when, we thought Elijah Moore wasn't really part of it, right? I believe that this offense, just from what I've seen, they tend to favor the bigger bodied wide receivers, right? We've consistently utilized more Garrett Wilson and Corey Davis on the outside. Those are bigger bodied, physical wide receivers that make contested catches. Now, I'm not saying Elijah Moore is not a quality wide receiver. I'm not saying that at all. But compared to Garrett Wilson and Corey Davis, they're much bigger. They have much bigger catch radiuses, and they're much better at making contested catches. They've been favored significantly more. Now, you would think, well, maybe Elijah Moore would be in the slot. Thought about this as well. Clearly, the Jets love Braxton Berrios. They love Braxton Berrios in the slot. And guys, think about right now the issue we're having with Elijah Moore. Think about with this cancer that we're talking about, right? Braxton Berrios is the most team guy you could ever want. Braxton Berrios. Remember, Zach's literally wearing the Braxton Berrios is good. Berrios is wearing the Zach is good. Braxton Berrios is as much as a team first, team centered, all in, do whatever it takes to win guy that there is. There's no really, arguably, he's the most on this team. He would do return game asked of him. He will do whatever is asked of him. So Braxton Berrios is our starting slot wide receiver right now. And you know what? I'm cool with that. Okay? I know a lot of people want Elijah Moore to be starting in there, but Elijah Moore is the one that opened his mouth and said, I want to trade. Braxton Berrios, again, has been the most team first guy since he's gotten here. He is a glue. He's literally an important factor on our team in our locker room. So I mentioned it when we talked about it the other week. It's just a crazy factor that Elijah Moore is a backup outside, backup slot wide receiver. Right now, it's kind of just a fact. And yes, he can be a part of this offense like Denzel Mims, but he's got to keep his mouth shut. He's got to want to be a part of it, right? I thought the Jets did the best decision this last week. They made him inactive. They said to Elijah Moore, well, we want you to be part of this, but we don't need you, right? We don't need you. Obviously, Corey Davis will be back soon, hopefully, but we got Corey Davis, we got Garrett Wilson, and again, Braxton Berrios is the most team first, do whatever is asked of him guy. So I don't hate that he's the main slot guy right now. I don't believe it. I believe, I'm cool with it. So appreciate all you guys. Appreciate Dark Soldier. All you guys out there, appreciate you. Dark Soldier. Oh, man. Perfect timing. That's so funny, bro. Perfect timing. I just threw up the sub, everyone. You're like, Moore might as well be wearing a Finns jersey now. You know what? Again, it's the mentality of we're winning, right? We said this before. We want to win. We'll take whatever needs to happen for that to win, right? For us to win, that's what we want. We want to be a quality football team. We want to be a contender. We want to be a team that teams fear, that are consistently in the playoff contention. If that's, I said it on Twitter, you guys remember, if that's with Elijah Moore, I love it. If it's without Elijah Moore, that's fine too. If he doesn't want to be part of this, he doesn't have to be part of this. And again, like Mike points out, Braxton Berrios is actually right now the better slot receiver and gadget player. He really has been excellent. Braxton Berrios has been outstanding. He's really been a really crucial weapon for us. And again, he's got the right attitude. So Moore, you would think he's in the slot, but he's behind Berrios. And Garrett Wilson and Corey Davis are predominantly featured on the outside. So Moore's taking a backseat. He's upset about it. He's asked for a trade. Again, I don't want to see him go. Same thing with the Jets. I think they want him to be a part of this, But I do think again, it's they can't get what they want. I think that's a factor as well. Like we said, if somebody called Joe right now and offered Joe a first round pick for Elijah, he would 100% take it. He would 100% take that first round pick. Don't get that confused. So, like Dark Soldier points out, shout out. CJ said he'll do whatever it takes as long as the team is winning, even if he needs to be in the equipment room. Exactly, dude. When we brought in Uzama, dude, he's amazing. So I'm talking about him or Mosley. I'm not sure which one. Both of them are outstanding team dudes. Both of those guys, everybody we have in the locker room now, it's the right culture. We have the right culture. All of these guys are happy. You're supposed to be happy when you're winning. That's how it works. So Sean asks, would JD for a high second? I think he would, but again, I don't think anyone's offering it. Think about it. A 34th overall pick is basically a first rounder, right? It basically is. I don't think any team is offering a 35th, a 36th, even a 38th overall pick right now for Elijah Moore. Because again, he was good last year, but he's not a proven commodity. Think about how many other players have gone for a lot less that are proven commodities. I mean, James Robinson is injured, but he's a proven not injured right now, but he is a proven commodity, and he barely garnished a fifth, right? You don't see that. If you're going to get a first overall pick for a guy, it's going to be like Devonta Adams, right? We've seen that. That's the kind of thing you see. Not in Elijah Moore. Maybe if Elijah Moore put up 1,000 yards last year, and maybe if you had 500 something right now, maybe. But right now, it's all potential. And no one's going to, in my opinion, no one's offering JD that high a pick for potential, especially potential that's running their mouth, especially potential that is not happy that the Jets are winning for the first time and have in decades, for having as good a record as they have in 10 years. Like we talked about when this show started, guys, the last time we started 5-2, we made the playoffs. That's what we have to remember here. We are the third best team in the entire AFC. We're the seventh best team in all of national football right now. Like we said the other last week when I was talking to you with Matt, you guys remember I was so freaking hyped. We have arrived. We are here right now. And that was the biggest thing with losing AVT and Breece. How can we continue to win? How can we take this adversity and not allow it to drag ourselves down? Well, bringing in James Robinson is a big step. Again, you guys heard my take before. I don't know if Cedric Ogbuehi's the answer. I'm terrified by Cedric Ogbuehi. Again, in the only 2 seasons he's ever played over 300 snaps, he allowed 17 sacks. Any player that allows 17 sacks in 2 seasons should be put out to pasture. I'm sorry. Like, that's it. So, I don't know. I honestly felt Mike Remmers would be the guy. I was really shocked that Mike Remmers wasn't the right tackle. And I'm even more shocked that Robert Saleh has announced that he has said that we're going to be sticking with Ogbuehi as the right tackle. Again, I'm hoping Nate Herbig's play is so good that it makes Ogbuehi's job 1,000 times easier. That's what I'm praying for right now. But we'll have Max Mitchell and George Fant back soon. And you guys know my take. As much as George Fant is the veteran, I want Max in there, man. I want to see Max Mitchell playing. So I don't know if you guys have any other questions, any other thoughts you guys are thinking. Some other stuff, I'll bring up some other stuff about the game. Oh, let me come back to that Sauce Gardner comment, because guys, that's what got us on the Elijah Moore thing. How great did that feel to hear that from Sauce? And they put it out in like a 4-minute interview. So that's why I put it out as just that quote, because just that quote was so important. That Sauce said, yeah, I was trying to get Rookie of the Week, but if I don't get it, it is what it is. He doesn't care because we won. That's what you want. He's one of the best corners right now in the NFL. That's a fact. A rookie playing, and we've talked about Sauce, right? We've talked about a rookie playing against the best wide receivers at the NFL level is already one of the best corners in the NFL. He's already, somehow, in an insane way, he's already made it like it was in college, where it's statistically stupid to even try to throw the ball his way. You guys remember my take? I talked about it just the other week with Matt. I had a whole video on it as well. I gave a whole reason, statistics, and all the things I just said that I do believe. I do truly believe that Sauce Gardner has the potential to be the greatest cornerback to ever play the game. Clearly not there. He's only a rookie. But like we said, name me one other rookie that's put up the kind of numbers that Sauce Gardner has in the first 6 games of his rookie season against the best wide receivers in the NFL. The answer is nobody. Ramsey, Terrell, the answer is nobody. Excuse me, guys. So again, Sauce Gardner has the potential to be the greatest cornerback to ever play in the NFL. And man, Breece was on track for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Again, Breece, when he comes back, I mentioned it before to make us all feel better. AVT is a young dude. Breece they're both very young. What? AVT is 23. Actually, I think he's only 22. Hold on a minute. Oh, 23. 23. So AVT is 23. Breece is I think Breece is 22, right? Only 21. He's only 21. AVT is 23. Breece is 21. These two guys are coming back better next year. They're coming back stronger next year. They're going to rehab. They're going to come back great. They're going to come back outstanding. So that's going to be great for next year. But like we said, we had to find a way to keep winning. I feel really good about the running game. Again, not as good as I felt with Breece Hall. I mean, let's be honest. Breece Hall, like we said, what he was doing in the first 6 weeks of the NFL, he was proving that he's already one of the best running backs in the NFL. Just already one of the best running backs. But James Robinson, Michael Carter, and Bam Knight together should be able to make a quality backfield where we can continue to lean on our running game to open up our passing game, and we don't have to drastically change our formula. But I do have to say, I am nervous about the offensive line. I am nervous. They got their asses handed to them by Denver. And let's talk about that again for a sec, because we cannot forget the offensive line was horrendous. That is a fact. The offensive line was a travesty on Sunday. It was absolutely atrocious. And it was a major factor to why Zach Wilson played again, not bad. Didn't play a good game, right? He played okay. So Sean points out he's intrigued by Bam Knight. Man, you guys remember I was a big fan of Bam. I couldn't believe we cut him. I really liked this kid, and again, fits the mold of what Joe Douglas likes, like that James Robinson. But again, when you think of James Robinson, guys, think like Sean Green, like we said. Think one cut or right through you. That's how you want to think about James Robinson. This kid hits holes with purpose, cuts hard and fast, and when he gets open, he's got an extra gear. He's got an extra gear where I've seen him outrun corners. So it's very exciting. And Bam Knight, man, I wanted him to make this roster. I was actually upset when he didn't make the 53. So it's exciting. It's exciting that Bam Knight is now back on the team. Man, maybe he could kill it, right? If he kills it, hell, next year you got Breece Hall, James Robinson, Michael Carter, and Bam Knight. Now all of a sudden you got a problem where you're like, I have so many amazing running backs. So, guys, this has been a really good thing. Getting James Robinson was an outstanding acquisition. But again, we come back to Zach Wilson, and I want to end it with this with you guys. And again, unless you have any other questions. If you guys have any other questions, I always mention, please ask me. Anything you're thinking, any thoughts you have. So the last thing I do want to say with the offensive line, like I mentioned, I really would prefer to see Mike Reimers. I'm nervous. That's the one thing that makes me the most nervous. The thing that makes me the most nervous is the offensive line, because we saw against a quality defensive line with the Broncos, they got their asses handed to them. And the fact that they got their asses handed to them was a major factor into why Zach Wilson did not have a good game. He was consistently running for his life and was never really able to set himself up to make more than a split-second read. That was really all the time he had, honestly. So, and like I think it was Sean, or I believe it was Mike, one of you guys, shout out to all you guys. You pointed out if it wasn't Zach back there, shit, there would have been 1,000 sacks. There would have been 1,000 sacks in that game. Flacco would have died, and they would have had to bring somebody else out. There would have been too many sacks. That offensive line was a train wreck, so it needs to get better. Again, I'd like to see Mike Remmers over Cedric Ogbuehi. I don't get why Cedric Ogbuehi's the starter, but he is the starter. So the fact that he's the starter, I hope he can be a lot better, because I don't believe in him. I'll be honest, I don't. I hope he can play well, but I hope that the play of Nate Herbig next to him can make him play better. That's what I hope. Sean says I'd steal Chicago's offensive playbook for Sunday. Oh, that's funny, bro. That's funny. That's funny. So remember, like we said, and that's what I wanted to end with talking to you guys about. Zach Wilson, like we said, played a good game, right? Well, again, we can't, you could say it was good because he didn't make any bad decisions. He didn't turn the ball over. I wouldn't say, again, like we mentioned before, would we like Zach Wilson to have 300, 400-yard games with 4 or 5 touchdowns showing us he is definitely the guy? Yeah, we'd love that. But he's a young quarterback that's learning on the job, playing against the best defenses in the league right now. These last few weeks, Miami, Pittsburgh, Green Bay, he's literally played quality secondaries. Zach Wilson has done nothing but play quality secondaries week after week after week. And like Robert Saleh said, and that's my point I want to end it with, we cannot forget, because you guys know, there's going to be the people on Twitter this Sunday crapping all over Zach, even if he doesn't, let's say he doesn't turn the ball over and he plays, smart football, he's not having a huge game. But we have to remember he's playing quality defenses. Like Robert Saleh said, right? We'll go right back to that quote, right? Right back to the quote Robert Saleh said, right? He said, when Zach gets out of the pocket, you want to see all that off-schedule stuff we know he's capable of, but he was constantly under duress and the coverage was very sticky. Credit goes to them. And we're about to play 3 more great Ds in New England and Buffalo, so it's not going to get any easier. So that's important to remember. We do need to remember that. So Jenny points out, I saw the same thing. She said, noticing Moore's tweets today, I don't think he gets it. Man, he must have been like, what do you call it? Like mentioned, right? When you put someone's @ like on Twitter, he must have been mentioned like 1,000 times in the Bart Scott thing. He must have been mentioned at least 1,000 times. There's no way he didn't see that. And that's a quality player, a high caliber leader. That's what Bart Scott was, a high caliber leader in an NFL locker room, literally telling you how it is. And I remember I put a joke out on Twitter. I put out, the image of Elijah Moore doing the peeing thing, saying maybe we should have known he's a diva wide receiver all along. I noticed some people said, well, that doesn't prove he's a diva. Well, it doesn't. But here's what that does prove. That proves undisciplined. That proves not willing to put the team first, that I'm not willing to think about how this is going to affect my team. I'm going to do a selfish action that I think is smart. Elijah Moore, again, I liked him a lot when we got him. I felt like he said all the right things, and I feel like he is a quality wide receiver. But we don't need a Keyshawn Johnson. We don't need a just throw me the ball kind of guy. You guys remember, I've talked about it here before. I'm team Wayne Corbett 1,000 times more than I'm team Keyshawn Johnson. I like that guy that's willing to give everything on the line to win the game. Again, the Braxton Berrioses, right? Having a guy like Braxton Berrios, willing to do anything, strap it out, get the extra yard if it kills him, never says a bad thing, such great chemistry with his teammates. There's a reason he's starting in the slot. There's a reason. It's his play. It's the ability of him willing to also do anything, but it's also his character. Character goes a long way. So yeah, Jenny, if Elijah doesn't get it, that's not good. That's really not good. That is really disappointing. And again, as a Jet fan, for us, fans who have been like, okay, we're 5-2 for the first time since 2010. The last time this happened, we were in the playoffs. We're on a 4-game winning streak that we haven't had since 2015. We're one of the best teams in the NFL. And we have one player that's running their mouth. We have one player that's requested a trade. And like I pointed out before, our offense, we have to admit, the offense runs through Garrett Wilson. The passing offense runs through Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, and Braxton Berrios. Elijah Moore is the backup outside guy because, again, it's been very clear we favor bigger-bodied outside receivers on the outside. And that being the case, that works in Denzel Mims' favor. Let's remember that. If the Jets prefer guys like Garrett Wilson and Corey Davis on the outside, well, you guys remember in Denzel Mims' rookie year, and going back to, again, his rookie year, just his rookie year, One of the things that I really liked that made me and a lot of people think maybe he could be a wide receiver one was his ability with contested catches, his ability to pinpoint the ball and make very good contested catches, just like Garrett Wilson and just like Corey Davis. So again, what I see on the outside benefits Denzel Mims. Denzel Mims fits that more. So Sean points out it's going to be hard to replace AVT. That was really a gut punch, man. That's exactly what I said before. I said losing Breece and AVT, it was like a sucker punch to the face and then a gut punch. You can't replace these guys. And like I put out on Twitter, there are moments when it's not next men up. You cannot replace AVT. You cannot replace Breece Hall. And that was, again, where we come back to the adversity aspect, right? You just lost two players that, yeah, you want two guys to step up, but they're not going to be them. They're not going to be AVT. They're not going to be Breece Hall. It's not happening. It's not just next man up. But how can you rise to the occasion? How can you not allow this to be, right? How can you not allow this to be the thing at the end of the season when they go, oh, the Jets were 5-2, and then they lost Breece Hall and AVT. Wow, sucked to be them. Their season was over. That's not what you want. We're winning. We're one of the best teams in the NFL. How can we keep this going? Bringing in James Robinson is a massive step in the right direction. And my opinion, just my 2 cents, playing Mike Reimers at right tackle over Cedric Ogbuehi is a step in the right direction as well. I do truly believe that. So Sean points out Garrett Wilson needs another breakout game. That's the point. The passing game hasn't been that prominent, right? And again, that might change. I do feel having James Robinson, Michael Carter, and Bam Knight is going to, again, it's not Breece Hall. I do want everyone to please do not think again, Breece Hall on another level, just another level. But that allows us to have a quality running game still. With that three-headed monster, we can continue to lean on the running game. But we may start to lean on the passing game more. So we haven't, right? Like we said, Zach Wilson hasn't been throwing the ball that much. Garrett Wilson hasn't had a huge game, but he hasn't been running his mouth. Even Corey Davis, he's been a major component of the offense. And if you look at what Corey Davis has done, you can easily argue that if he had more volume going his way, he'd be a 100-yard receiver every game. Think about it. Look at what Corey Davis does every game. When he gets the ball, he averages a lot of yards and makes a big play. If he had a lot more volume coming his way, he'd be having 100 yards a game. He'd be on par for 1,000 yards right now. But we're not leaning on the receiving game, and he's not opening his mouth. Garrett's not opening his mouth. Elijah's opening his mouth. So again, I think a major factor is not just that they want him to be a part of this offense. I think you can't really trade him. I don't think any team, like we said, for all the things we just mentioned, he's not a proven talent. He's all potential right now. No one's giving up a 34th overall pick, a 35th, hell, even a 38th overall pick for a guy that's all potential, especially one that's running their mouth on a team that's winning and doing really well, right? We've seen this in the past. It used to be back in the day, Terrell Owens could say whatever he wanted, right? Guys like that can say whatever they wanted. Well, we've seen the difference. And the difference is Antonio Brown, right? We've seen the difference. We've seen the transition in the NFL. We've seen the transition of there can always be somebody else. We don't need you. It doesn't matter how great you are. There's a point where you're not worth the hassle anymore. And like Bart Scott did, I feel like Bart Scott was literally shaking Elijah Moore and trying to shake this sense into him that we're talking about right now. That if he's not careful, he's going to give himself a dangerous label. And that label could literally break his career. Like Jenny said, he's not seeing it. So the fact that he's not seeing it, that's a scary thing. That is absolutely not a good thing. And again, like we said, I would love to win with Elijah Moore. But if we can keep winning and Elijah Moore doesn't want to be part of it, he can go. All that matters is winning. And again, Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, killing it on the outside. Braxton Berrios, killing it in the slot. Like Sean says, exactly. Ruin his brand. It's again, Bart Scott, like he literally gave him the recipe, right? Like Bart Scott literally said, you young idiot, basically. You young idiot. Please listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. But he is not listening to those words. He literally has the potential, like Bart Scott said, to ruin his brand, label himself as a diva wide receiver. And again, he doesn't even like Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown had the production, right? He had the 1,500 yards a season and still ran his mouth and no one wanted a piece of him. Elijah Moore is all potential. Elijah Moore is not even close to that. So we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see. But again, if we keep winning, all that matters is we're winning, right? All that matters is we get those W's. And like we said before, it doesn't matter if you fall ass backward into those W's. If you fall ass backward into enough W's, you make the playoffs. And if you make the playoffs, nobody cares, like we said before, when you win the Super Bowl, hey, you fell into your wins. Nobody cares. You're holding that Lombardi trophy. So let's keep winning, right? We're 5-2. We're on a 4-game winning streak. 4 victory Mondays, my Jets family. 4 freaking victory Mondays. How absolutely beautiful and freaking special is that? So I appreciate all you guys tuning in. I appreciate all you guys being here and taking part in the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast. I love always talking to you guys about the Jets. So last week, Delay asked, can I ask a fantasy question? If you have a question, if you want to lay it on me, be happy to help you out. If you have a question about maybe a fantasy stat or something like that. But I really do appreciate all you guys tuning in. I always appreciate you guys being here. Hope you guys, enjoy the takes, my opinion on Zach Wilson, where again, not having like Robert Saleh said, perfect way to say it. Did he have a great game or even a good game? No, but is it something to sound the alarm on? Absolutely not. So Day says that's an interesting one, but you trade away Brian Robinson for James Robinson. That's interesting. James Robinson, man. So curious, what are his numbers right now on the season? I'm not sure what his numbers are, Brian, at the moment. I'm curious. Oh, wait, that's his college stats. That's not going to help us. Here we go. I mean, I like James Robinson. I do. I mean, I'll be honest, man. I'm a really, really big fan. I was just looking at it. Saquon Barkley's your main running back. That's the way to be, bro. So the Giants' offense is running through Saquon Barkley. Just like the Jets' offense was running through Breece Hall, the Giants' offense runs through Saquon Barkley. Because without crapping too much on the Giants, it really can't run through Daniel Jones, right? Daniel Jones hasn't really proven yet that he can be the guy. He's averaging like less than a touchdown a game. That's really not good for a quarterback in his 4th year. But I like James Robinson, man. James Robinson, again, like we mentioned before, in his rookie season, he had over 1,000 yards. He's the 4th undrafted free agent ever in NFL history to run for over 1,000 yards in his rookie year. In the first 2 years, he had over 1,800 yards, and every season he's averaged over 4 yards a carry. We talked about him before. He fits exactly what this offense is. Man, in that rookie season, he was a bell cow. He was a bell cow and he was the main back. They were leaning on him a lot. In some games, he had 20 plus carries in his rookie year and he was doing it. So, man, it's going to be a committee between him, Michael Carter, and Bam Knight. But, man, don't sleep on James Robinson. That might definitely be a good pickup. I would definitely make that pickup, man. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, with my job, I'm busy, but I try to bring you content as much as I can throughout the week, as many takes as I can, different opinions, things like that. Sean points out, love it, man. This is exciting. If you guys haven't heard, we're going with the black helmets, man, on Sunday. This is freaking awesome. We're finally debuting the black helmets. We're finally going to see them. Man, they look fresh. I love the jet lettering. Don't get me wrong. I know you guys would agree with me. You would love to see that 80s jet lettering on there. I mean, that would be freaking amazing. But these helmets look nice. These helmets look really, really nice. So this Sunday, we're debuting the black helmets. You're going to see the Jets in stealth black unis and the new black helmets. That's going to be some pretty stuff. Love it. Day says done. I'm telling you, man. Dude, I'm telling everybody, don't sleep on James Robinson. James Robinson was absolutely awesome. Again, I'm a really, really big fan of this kid. Like Sean said, I like the 80s logo. Me too, man. I'm a big fan of that logo. I know a lot of people want us to bring it back for a couple of games. Be interesting to see. Maybe they eventually do. Maybe they do. Maybe we bring it back one day. Who knows, right? You never know. But again, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys being here and being part of the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast. As you guys know, I normally do the show on Monday. So please tune in Mondays live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be giving you all my takes, telling you all the great stuff about the Jets. Love to have some guests on. You guys see them all the time. We have a great time. It's an absolute blast. But I try to bring you content throughout the week as well. So please check out my channel. I'll bring you takes throughout the week as well. And also, if you haven't, if you could please subscribe to the channel, that'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. As you guys know, I'm hoping to eventually monetize. I'm hoping to eventually get up to 1,000 subscribers. Any and all the help in doing so would be truly, truly greatly appreciated. So if you can please subscribe, or if you know anyone you can tell that could please subscribe it as well. And again, I appreciate all you guys. Love talking with you guys in the chat. It is an absolute pleasure. Like Sean says, have a good night, man. It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure chatting it up with you guys. It's always a pleasure excuse me, bringing you guys my Jets takes and talking with you. I love your guys' thoughts in the comments. I love chatting it up with you guys. I'll see you guys next Monday at 7 p.m. Let's get another win, baby. I mean, like we said in Green Bay, I would have been thrilled if we could get 3 victory Mondays in a row. We're sitting at 4 now. Let's go for a 5th, right? And if anything, we're in MetLife, right? They're coming to us. So let's get a 5th, right? Let's get a 5th victory Monday in a row. Let's make this 6-2. Man, I cannot wait to be talking to you guys next week when the Jets are 6-2. I'm waiting for it, man. I am waiting for it. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you guys being here. Check out my content throughout the week, and let's go Jets, baby. Let's get another W. Because like we said, a win is a win. And it doesn't matter how you get it. Let's just keep winning.